You know that feeling,
Yeah.
right? When you have a dream and it's just so vivid, it kind of sticks with you all day.
Oh, definitely.
Or maybe one that felt, I don't know, like a glimpse into something else.
Yeah, something more.
That's exactly what we're diving into today, this whole fascinating world of dreams. You shared some really interesting thoughts about your own dream experiences, actually.
You're going to explore what might be going on there, drawing on some really insightful perspectives.
Right. We'll be unpacking a recent chat with Yogi Giri. He's a spiritual coach, knows a lot about Jubari and yogic practices.
Yeah, this was from the Speaking Tree YouTube channel. He has this really rich take on, the different kinds of dreams we have, what symbols might mean.
And that big question. Can dreams actually give us insights beyond our normal everyday awareness?
Exactly. And your curiosity about those really memorable dreams, those aha moments you mentioned, that's really what's guiding us here.
Okay, so Yogi Giri talks about dreams almost in layers, you could say. He separates the everyday ones, the stuff that feels like, mental clutter.
Right, the brain cleaning out.
For the more meaningful dreams. And then there are these really profound, almost spiritual ones he calls divine dreams.
And he also gets into why we remember some, but not others, right? Why some just vanish the second we wake up.
Yeah, while others feel so important, so significant.
And we really want to focus on those aha moments you described. See if Yogi Giri's ideas can, shed some light on what those might actually be about for you.
Okay, so let's get into it. Yogi Giri connects the kind of dreams we have to our brainwave frequencies, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's a fascinating link.
He mentions these slower brainwaves first, delta waves.
Right.
And he suggests these are often happening during our regular everyday dreams. It's like our mind is sorting through the day's stuff.
Deciding what to keep, what to toss out. Like you said, mental housekeeping.
He makes a really interesting point, too, that we all dream multiple times every night, like loads of times.
Even if we don't remember most of them, they just poof, gone.
Exactly. But then he talks about gamma waves. These are much faster.
Right, high frequency. Often linked with deep meditation, like samadhi.
And Yogi Giri connects this state to those really powerful dreams, the ones that feel like visions almost, past, future, other realms.
He actually sees those dreams as being closer to, fact, because of that super high brain activity.
Yeah.
So a key thing for you, thinking about those intensely real dreams you've had, they might be happening when your brain just naturally hits that higher frequency state.
Like deep meditation, but happening spontaneously while sleeping.
Exactly, even without consciously trying to meditate.
That's so different from our normal waking state, isn't it? Which he says is often beta waves, kind of mid-range.
And he also mentioned alpha waves, another slower one, which can apparently also bring about those more divine feeling dreams.
Maybe not quite as intense as gamma, but still significant.
Seems like it. It suggests the vividness isn't just random, It might actually be tied to what your brain is doing electrically.
Have you ever noticed that yourself?
Yeah.
Like a real difference in how real or memorable some dreams feel compared to others.
Oh, for sure. Some are like hazy reruns, others are, crystal clear.
That feeling might be a clue then.
Yeah.
About what's going on deeper down.
Yeah. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Yogi Giri draws this distinction between how, say, a typical person dreams,
right,
and how a yogi might experience it. He says for most of us, it's like being in the movie.
Totally immersed. You're the main character, feeling everything. You think you're a king or you're flying.
It feels completely real in that moment, your reality.
But a yogi, he says, they observe it more. Like watching a movie.
Less attachment, less, this is me.
Exactly. They're aware it's a dream, just a role being played, not their true self. It connects to that idea of being more awake even while you're asleep.
Recognizing how fleeting it all is.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, if those aha moments you talked about happen when you get just a little bit of that detachment, that observer perspective within the dream.
That's a good point. Like a moment of clarity inside the dream narrative.
It reminds me of something else he said. I'm king of the odd.
It reminds me of something else he said. Very zarding.
Yeah. The wise person is awake while sleeping.
And the fool is asleep while awake.
Yeah. He's suggesting that if we're super attached to our body, our everyday stuff, we're kind of asleep to a deeper reality.
Whereas someone who's more self-aware stays conscious, even in dreams.
So think about your own really powerful dreams. Have you ever had that sense of watching it unfold rather than being totally swept up in it?
Maybe sometimes. It's hard to recall exactly, but that feeling of slight distance, maybe that is key to those moments of insight.
Okay, now let's talk about those dreams that feel like they come from, well, somewhere else. Divine intervention, maybe? Or psychic dreams?
Yeah, the really uncanny ones.
Yogi Giri points out that even people who aren't doing specific spiritual practices can sometimes have these really profound divine dreams.
Right. It's not just for yogis or gurus.
They can bring these deep insights or even those weird glimpses of future events.
And that really connects back to your curiosity, doesn't it? About those dreams that seem to come out of nowhere but feel incredibly powerful.
Yeah, the ones that feel like more than just, my brain mixing things up randomly.
Like there's a message or some other kind of input happening.
So moving on to what the images in dreams might mean. Yogi Giri says the symbols come from our subconscious,
Makes sense? Our desires, thoughts.
but also potentially divine signals. He says the divine signal could show up in all sorts of forms.
And seeing, like, deities or spiritual teachers in dreams, he says that's generally seen as really positive, very auspicious.
What about ancestors? That's a common one, dreaming of people we've lost.
He touches on that too. He says seeing ancestors is usually good because they're considered to be in a realm close to the divine.
But why do we dream of them? Is it just us missing them?
Well, he says it can be that, absolutely. Our subconscious longing to see them again.
Makes sense.
But he also suggests these dreams could potentially carry messages. You kind of have to look at the content of the dream, what actually happened.
Right, the specifics matter.
And he mentions a specific image, ancestors asking for money, which in some places is seen as a bad sign, right?
Yeah, I've heard that.
But Yogi Giri's take is different. He thinks it's not literally about cash. It's more that the ancestor represents some kind of lack or a need in your life that needs addressing.
Oh, interesting. So it's symbolic, fulfilling a deeper need they represent.
Exactly. It's not about them needing money in the afterlife. It's about what that image signifies for you.
He also said something interesting about what happens after someone passes. He suggests the soul often gets reborn within a familiar sphere or lineage. He used the term Silonai,
Subtle body.
and its development, its capacity, influences where it goes next.
So those familiar faces popping up in dreams, maybe the connections run deeper or across lifetimes even.
It's a thought, isn't it? So thinking about symbols that have shown up in your dreams, does his idea resonate?
Yeah.
That they come from your subconscious, but could also have this divine spark?
It's definitely worth mulling over, especially with recurring themes or really strong images. Maybe they're working on multiple levels.
Yogi Giri also brought up something people often notice, that women tend to have stronger intuition.
Yeah, that's a common observation.
And he links this to women embodying shakti, this powerful, active inner energy. He says it gives them significant inner strength and control.
And what's really fascinating is how he connects the depth of our emotions. He uses the word baba with how clear our dreams are.
Oh, how so?
He suggests that dreams coming from the heart, driven by that and bhakti, which is like devotion, those tend to be more accurate. They carry more intuition.
More than dreams driven by logic.
More than dreams driven by agotark, or logic, from the brain, which he connects to agogotyan, or meditation in this context. So heart dreams versus head dreams, almost.
Wow. So if you've had really emotionally charged dreams that felt super meaningful, that could be why.
That could be it. The deeper the feeling, maybe the clearer the intuitive signal comes through.
That really makes you think. Have you noticed that connection? Do your more intense emotional dreams feel more significant or give you those stronger intuitive nudges?
Sometimes, yeah. The ones that really hit you emotionally often feel like they mean something more than the random jumbled ones.
Okay, let's explore this idea of past lives
Yeah.
and future predictions in dreams. Yogi Giri makes a really compelling point here.
Yeah, what's that?
He says we can only really see what our soul has already experienced in some way.
Okay.
We can't truly imagine something totally alien to our experience.
So even seemingly new things in dreams have some root in past experience.
That seems to be the idea. And he applies it to dreams of the future, too. He suggests they're based on things already fed into our consciousness somehow.
So not necessarily seeing a totally random future event out of the blue.
Less that, and more like. A manifestation of information or tendencies our subconscious has already picked up on. Things already in the system, so to speak.
Right. And he uses that analogy, right? Yamraj and Chitragupta.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yamraj, often seen as the Lord of Death. Yogi Giri equates him with our past, unseen, maybe a bit dark or mysterious,
Okay.
and Chitragupta, the celestial accountant who keeps all the records.
He's our stored memories,
Oh,
our internal database.
exactly. So Yogi Giri is saying these aren't really external figures, but internal mechanisms within us. The past and our record of it.
That's a really different way to frame it. Less literal, more psychological or internal.
Yeah. So when it comes to actually seeing the future in dreams beyond what we've already sort of experienced or processed, Yogi Giri suggests that usually needs what he calls a divine vision.
Something extra.
But, and this is important, he stresses that these divine signals through dreams can happen to anyone. You don't have to be a specific kind of spiritual practitioner.
That fits with what he said earlier about divine dreams.
Right. And he also mentions that enlightened people, the Yukanani, they might actually have fewer ordinary dreams.
Why is that?
Because they're already awake on a deeper level. They see even waking life as being kind of dreamlike.
So the distinction blurs for them.
Seems like it. So those unfamiliar places or faces in your dreams, maybe they are echoes, like you said. Fragments of experiences your soul already encountered somewhere.
Could be. And those glimpses of the future might be our subconscious putting together subtle clues. It's already registered. Stuff we're not consciously aware of yet.
It's complex. Then Yogi Giri shares this, that's really powerful story about a young man who sadly passed away by suicide, but then appeared in a dream.
Okay.
And in the dream, he was asking for the blessings of a very respected guru.
Right. And it's important to understand the context he shares this in.
Absolutely.
He uses it to illustrate the potential for, let's say, a positive spiritual outcome or intervention, even after a really difficult action like that. He attributes it to the power and grace of a true spiritual guide.
Yes, and just to be crystal clear, because Yogi Giri himself stressed this. This is an anecdote he shared based on his experience. It is absolutely not an endorsement of suicide in any way. Suicide is considered wrong in these teachings.
Exactly. The story isn't meant to condone the act at all. It's really about highlighting the spiritual dimension, the potential impact of grace or guidance in, well, unexpected and difficult circumstances from his perspective.
Right. The focus is on that spiritual possibility.
Precisely.
Okay, so finally, Yogi Giri kind of wraps things up by suggesting that our current life, much like a dream, will eventually break. And that breaking leads to a sense of liberation.
Wow. That's a really thought-provoking way to look at our everyday reality.
Isn't it? That this whole experience is temporary, like a dream state itself.
It certainly makes you think about, well, impermanence. And maybe approaching things with a slightly different kind of awareness. Less attachment, maybe.
Yeah, perhaps. So bringing all this back around to your own dream experiences, those really vivid dreams you have, they could be linked to those moments when your brain just naturally hits those higher frequency states. Gamma waves, maybe alpha.
Even without formal meditation practice, it could just happen.
And pay attention to the emotions in your dreams. Remember what Yogi Giri said.
Yeah. Deeper feelings might open the door to more insightful, more intuitive experiences.
Exactly. And the symbols, remember, they're deeply personal, coming from your subconscious.
They can also carry broader spiritual meaning, potentially.
So take some time, maybe reflect on recurring themes or images that really stick out for you.
And finally, that idea that we only dream what we've experienced in some form, it suggests that even the unfamiliar stuff in your dreams,
unfamiliar places, faces,
might connect to deeper layers of your soul's journey than you consciously realize right now. Echoes of the past, perhaps.
It's fascinating stuff. And Yogi Giri leaves us with this really big thought, doesn't he?
The idea that waking life is also a kind of dream.
Yeah. If that's true, how does that shift your perspective? I mean, how might it change the way you approach just your day-to-day life?
That's definitely something to mull over. It changes the stakes, maybe. Or the level of attachment.
Could be. So what aspects of your dream life are you still curious about after all this?
Yeah, good question. Are there recurring patterns or specific questions that came up for you listening to this?
Let us know. Share them in the comments. Maybe we can delve into some of those specifics in a future deep dive.
Absolutely. This conversation, it feels like just scratching the surface, really. There's such a rich, mysterious world inside our own minds.